Usually, the contestants on Family Feud find themselves in awkward situations after answering strange questions. Steve Harvey, who usually pounces on them with witty jibes after a silly answer, once ended up letting out his own secret. In response to a question that needed people to name the risky places that they had made love in, Harvey ended up confessing that he had done it in all the places on the board, before calling out a player, Harold, for his answer, the church. The survey question he had asked was, name a place you've made love where you knew you might get in trouble but you did it anyway. A player named Uddy hit the buzzer first, but Harvey wasn't happy with that, as he wanted to hear an answer from Pam, the grandmother of the Rouse family. He then gave Uddy the chance to answer, and his response, parents' room, showed up on the board. Harvey then went over to Pam, who came up with car. In the car? Oh, Miss Pam, Harvey said before the answer showed up at the top spot. The Rouse family chose to play the question, and the turn moved on to Paul, who came up with a smart answer, restaurant bathroom. With some points on the board, the turn went to Lacey, who answered with elevator, which wasn't on the board. Next up was Caroline, who seemed to be flustered by the question. After thinking for a while, she answered with salt monkey, which even Harvey couldn't make sense of. With 2 strikes on the board, the turn finally went to Harold, who had something offensive to say. After Harvey read him the question, Harold answered with church, which forced the host to make a confession and roast the player. I've done a lot of things. All this so far, the host candidly admitted. Then, probably done the other 3, that's going to pop up. But you have bought yourself a surefire ticket to hell, Harvey went on to add, giving a glimpse into the risky things he had done, probably in his youth. Unfortunately for the Rouse family, the answer wasn't on the board, and they struck out. With this, the turn passed on to the Hamdan family, who now had the chance to steal all the points. Harvey went over to their podium and read the question, after which Nada took charge to answer it. Steve, we're gonna go with pool, she said, but it wasn't a popular answer in the survey, as it didn't show up on the board. Thus, the Rouse family, despite their risky answers, won the round and got to keep all the points. Harvey then went on to reveal the remaining answers, which included boss's desk, beach, and park. Steve Harvey, the affable and often humorous host of Family Feud, has built his career on eliciting laughter, surprises, and the occasional jaw-dropping moment from both contestants and audiences alike. Known for his quick wit and expressive reactions, Harvey has become a household name synonymous with game show entertainment. However, during a recent taping, the veteran host revealed a side of himself that fans rarely see, a startling confession that left contestants and the studio audience stunned. The incident occurred during a midweek episode of Family Feud, where Harvey's trademark humor was on full display, but the events took a turn for the unexpected. A contestant posed a question that seemed innocuous at first, but it quickly caught Harvey off guard. As the contestant framed the query, the audience leaned in with curiosity. The question involved an unusual hypothetical scenario, blending personal life with a peculiar twist about family dynamics. Most hosts would have shrugged it off or turned it into a joke, but Harvey paused. The pause was deliberate, a rare moment of vulnerability on a stage where he usually commands attention with effortless energy. I've got to be honest, Harvey said, his voice noticeably subdued compared to his usual lively tone. I don't know if I can answer this the way you think I might. His words drew a hush over the audience. People leaned forward in their seats, sensing that what came next would not be another comedic quip, but something more personal. The contestant, slightly nervous but clearly intrigued, encouraged him to continue. Steve, we want to hear your thoughts. Go ahead. Harvey took a moment, looking down at the podium before glancing up at the camera. You know, people often think they know me, he began, because they see me on TV cracking jokes, making faces at ridiculous answers, and sometimes even shaking my head at the things people say. But what they don't see is what goes on inside my mind, especially when it comes to family. That's where I get real. The audience erupted into murmurs, sensing a shift from entertainment to sincerity. Harvey's expression was serious, far removed from his usual exuberant persona. I've been asked a lot of questions in my life, he continued, but there's one thing I've never been able to talk about publicly. And today, since this question brought it up, I feel like I should. At this point, viewers at home and studio attendees were captivated. Harvey revealed that the strange question about family relationships touched on a personal struggle he has faced in private. Without going into graphic detail, he admitted that balancing his career, public persona, and his own family life has been one of the most challenging aspects of his life. People think being funny is all there is to it, he said, but behind the laughter, There's a lot of pressure to be perfect, to always have the right answer, to make everyone happy, and sometimes, that leaves little room to deal with your own emotions or struggles. He admitted that there were moments when he questioned whether he was being the father, husband, and role model he wanted to be. Harvey's confession was heartfelt and raw. "I've had nights where I just sit in the dark, thinking about the people I love, wondering if I'm giving them enough of myself," he said. "And honestly, that thought scares me more than any awkward answer on this stage ever could." The studio audience, initially anticipating a funny punchline, sat in stunned silence. It was a different side of Steve Harvey, a side that was introspective, honest, and deeply human. For many fans, this revelation resonated more than any joke or funny mishap ever could. It reminded everyone that behind the laughter, there's a person who feels, worries, and reflects just like anyone else. As the moment lingered, Harvey transitioned back into his role as a host, albeit with a newfound sincerity. "I guess what I'm trying to say," he concluded, "is that everyone has their own struggles, even people who seem like they have it all together. And sometimes, it takes the most unexpected question to make you stop and acknowledge them." What followed next was typical Family Feud chaos, but in a way that felt meaningful. Harvey's confession seemed to lighten a collective weight in the studio, allowing both contestants and audience members to connect on a deeper emotional level. The contestant who asked the strange question smiled, realizing that their curiosity had sparked a moment of real human connection. And the audience responded with heartfelt applause, not for a joke, but for honesty, courage, and vulnerability. Fans online were quick to react. Clips of Harvey's confession quickly went viral on social media, drawing attention from millions. Comments ranged from admiration to empathy. Many viewers praised Harvey for showing that even someone with a public image as strong and humorous as his can have moments of self-doubt and reflection. "Steve Harvey just reminded us all that it's okay to not be okay sometimes," one tweet read. "Even heroes laugh, cry, and struggle behind the scenes." The incident also sparked a broader conversation about the role of vulnerability in media personalities. Public figures are often expected to present a polished, entertaining persona at all times, but moments like Harvey's confession show that relatability and authenticity can resonate just as strongly as humor or spectacle. Experts in media and psychology weighed in, noting that Harvey's openness could encourage others, both viewers and fellow entertainers, to embrace their own vulnerabilities rather than hide them. For Harvey, the experience seemed to reaffirm the duality of his career. While he is undoubtedly a master of comedy and timing, moments like these remind him and his audience that there is power in honesty. The strange question, initially seen as a potential setup for a laugh, became a vehicle for reflection, human connection, and emotional transparency. By the end of the episode, the energy had shifted. Harvey, ever the consummate professional, returned to his playful, quick-witted demeanor, but with a subtle change in his tone. There was a depth to his laughter, a sense that he had shared a part of himself that he normally keeps private. The contestants left smiling, not just because of a successful game, but because they had been part of a meaningful exchange, one that transcended the usual boundaries of a television game show. In the world of television, where scripted moments often dominate, Family Feud's most recent episode stands out as a reminder that unscripted honesty can have a profound impact. Steve Harvey's startling confession, born out of a strange and unexpected question, provided a rare glimpse into the heart behind the humor. For fans, it was a reminder that laughter is powerful, but so is authenticity, and that sometimes, a single moment of truth can leave an audience more moved than 100 perfectly timed punchlines. As viewers continue to share the clip and reflect on Harvey's words, one thing is clear: the man who has spent decades making millions laugh also has the power to inspire empathy, introspection, and understanding. His willingness to share a deeply personal side of himself on one of television's most watched game shows is a testament to the human experience we all share: complex, imperfect, and ultimately relatable. In the end, Family Feud remains a place for humor, competition, and entertainment, but thanks to a single strange question and Steve Harvey's candid response, it also became a platform for honesty and emotional resonance, a rare and unforgettable moment in television history.